So let's get into it. Gemini rising's year ahead, Aries to Pisces season 2022 to 2023. If we haven't met yet, my name is Shuka. I am a traditional astrologer that uses both Hellenistic and ancient Persian techniques in order to decipher the language of the stars and map out what's coming up for you. Feel free to like and subscribe for future videos that help you maximize your potential using the stars, like they say, as above, so below. In order to jump into spring season, which covers Aries, Taurus, and Gemini season, we need to go back a little bit in history. On December 29th, 2021, Jupiter moved into your Pisces 10th house. Now, this is the house of public image, public career, and this created an era of expansion in this area of life. And since February 3rd of 2022, all the way up through April 29th of 2022, all planets in the sky are stationed direct, so think forward propelling movement, a go, go, go sort of vibe. On March 20th, 2022, we kick off the new year when the sun makes its way into Aries, starting spring and marking the beginning of a new zodiacal year. On April 4th, 2022, Mars conjuncts Saturn in your Aquarius 9th house. This house deals with foreign travel, philosophy, religion, morals, and ethics. Think of it as a meetup between action orientation and restriction and boundaries, especially inside Aquarius. Saturn's favorite word is a no, and Mars wants to forge forward or take action, and they meet. So think of it as wanting to take action and being met with unexpected rejection or restrictions or boundaries or just a flat out no. On April 12th, 2022, Jupiter conjuncts Neptune in your Pisces 10th house. Be really wary during this time frame of anything that may appear too good to be true or kind of putting things up on a pedestal, so to speak, particularly in this area of life of public image and public career. It's best to wait to make any irreversible decisions until after this transit has passed. On April 29th, 2022, Pluto stations retrograde in your Capricorn 8th house. Now, this house deals with things like taxes, investments, and shared resources. And Pluto really brings about transformation. So think of it as like an ending and a rebirth into how you kind of work with this area of life on a deep-rooted level. On April 30th, 2022, there is a partial solar eclipse in your Taurus 12th house. This is the house of mental health and isolation. Think of this as a catalyst event that sets off a chain of events external to you that you have no control over that creates a new beginning in this area of life. Think of a renewal in mental health in some way. On May 10th, 2022, Jupiter enters your Aries 11th house, taking that expansion into your social network, friend groups, and your future goals. On May 15th, 2022, there is a total lunar eclipse in your Scorpio 6th house. This house deals with things like your subordinates, your physical health, your pets, and a being of service to others. And with a total lunar eclipse, think of it as a catalyst event, external factors outside of your control that set off a chain of events that lead to an ending in this area of life. On June 4th, 2022, Saturn stations retrograde in your Aquarius 9th house. This is the house of foreign travel, religion, philosophy, morals, and ethics. Think of it as a more internalized aspect of these boundaries or restrictions. So instead of outside factors kind of putting boundaries on you here, it's more you putting more internalized boundaries or rethinking your boundaries or your structure in this area of life. This takes us to the summer season, which is a lot slower. It's a lot more about rethinking, revisiting, and reanalyzing things that you've already gone through. This includes Cancer, Leo, and Virgo season. On June 28th, 2022, Neptune stations retrograde in your Pisces 10th house. So think idealism, dreams, and creativity sort of being more internalized as opposed to coming from an external factor in this public image, public career area of life. On July 28th, 2022, Jupiter stations retrograde in your Aries 11th house. So think a rethinking or a revisiting of whatever expansion may have occurred when Jupiter first entered your Aries house of social groups, social networks, clubs, organizations, and future goals. And on August 24th, 2022, Uranus stations retrograde in your Taurus 12th house of mental health and isolation. So think an internalizing or revisiting of innovative solutions that you may have come up with for your mental health. This brings us to the fall season, Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius season. On October 8th, 2022, Pluto stations direct in your Capricorn 8th house, dealing with taxes, investments, and shared resources. So whatever rebirth or transformation took place over the summer, it's time to implement that moving forward. On October 22nd, 2022, Saturn stations direct in your Aquarius 9th house. This house deals with things like higher education, morals, philosophy, ethics, and foreign travel. So whatever boundaries or restrictions that you may have had going on internally, it's back moving forward. Think more structure, being able to implement those boundaries in this area of life. On October 25th, 2022, we have a partial solar eclipse in your Scorpio 6th house. Think of this as a catalyst event, setting off a chain of events external to you, outside of your control, that lead to a new beginning in this area of life, dealing again with pets, being of service to others, your subordinates, and your physical health. On October 27th, 2022, Jupiter retrograde moves back into your Pisces 10th house of public image and public career. So think you've rethought your social networks and organizations and future goals, and now it's time to rethink how that plays out in your public image and your public career. On October 30th, 2022, Mars stations retrograde in your Gemini 1st house. This house deals with yourself, your body, your image, and your ego. Think of this as a rethinking or reanalyzing how you take action out into the world, and also be wary of being too hasty or too rash or impulsive, in the sense that there is an uptick in possibilities for like physical injury during this time. Nothing to be worried about. Just, try and exercise patience wherever you can. On November 8th, 2022, there is a total lunar eclipse in your Taurus 12th house of mental health and isolation, a catalyst event that sets off a chain reaction leading to an ending in this area of life. On November 23rd, 2022, Jupiter stations direct in your Pisces 10th house, which is a public image and public career. So think you've rethought your social group, social networks, and future goals. You've rethought how that plays out into your public image and your public career, and you're ready to kind of step forward and put that all into action. On December 3rd, 2022, Neptune stations direct in your Pisces 10th house of public image and public career. So think creativity, idealism, manifesting back out inside of the world. And on December 20th, 2022, Jupiter re-enters that Aries 11th house, bringing back expansion to your social network, your social groups, organizations, and your future goals. And this brings us to the final season of the zodiac, winter season, which encompasses Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces season. On January 12th, 2023, Mars stations direct in your Gemini 1st house. This is the house of self, body, image, ego. Think that you've rethought how to take action or how you show up in this area, how you show up in the world in general, and really being ready to forge forward with whatever you've come up with. On January 22nd, 2023, Uranus stations direct in your Taurus 12th house of mental health and isolation. So think that you've rethought or reanalyzed innovative solutions in this area of life and you're ready to implement them. Between January 22nd, 2023 through April 21st of 2023, all planets in the sky are stationed direct again. Remember, this happened earlier this year. Think go, go, go. The vibe is all about moving forward directionally. On March 7th, 2023, Saturn finally exits your 9th house of higher education, foreign travel, philosophy, moral ethics, religion, and makes its way into your 10th house of public image and public career. Now, you had just finished this big expansion period of abundance in this area of life, in your career and in your public image. And think of Saturn entering there as really bringing boundaries or structure to this growth and expansion that's occurred over the past few months. So there's a couple of interesting days I want you to watch out for. To quote Marion, they're a passive-aggressive mess. On March 15th, 2023, the sun in your Pisces 10th house of public image and public career squares Mars in your Gemini 1st house of self and image. So think of this as a passive-aggressive mess between your public image and public career and yourself and how you show up in the world or how you take action in the world. And on March 16th, 2023, Mercury joins this party. It will conjunct the Sun and Neptune in Pisces, your 10th house of public image and public career. Mars will square all of them from your 1st house. And then Venus in your Aries 11th house of friendship networks and groups and, future goals will square Pluto in your Capricorn 8th house of investments, shared resources, and taxes. It's really, really clustery, but tension in these areas, particularly with squares like this, really help bring what needs to change to the surface to propel you forward on a path that's better for you. And that brings us to the end of the zodiacal year. On March 20th, 2023, the sun will make its way into Aries, beginning the next one. Which brings us to the Mercury retrogrades for the upcoming zodiacal year. You, Gemini, being Mercury ruled, you do tend to feel these a little bit more than others, but hey, that means that you're, adept at adapting. Let's put it that way. On May 10th, 2022, Mercury stations retrograde in your Gemini first house of self, body, image, and ego. Think of this as a rethinking of how you think and communicate in this area of life. It will retrograde back into your Taurus 12th house of mental health and isolation until it stations direct there on June 3rd, 2022. On September 9th, 2022, Mercury stations retrograde in your Libra 5th house of fun, sex, romance, creativity, children, whatever it is you birth into the world. It will retrograde back into your Virgo 4th house, which deals with your roots, your foundation, your family property, before it stations direct there October 2nd, 2022. On December 29th, 2022, we have the final Mercury retrograde of the year in your Capricorn 8th house of taxes, shared resources, investments, until it stations direct there January 18th of 2023. Getting into the planetary retrogrades, the big one for you is that Mars will station retrograde on October 30th, 2022 in your Gemini first house of self, body, image, and ego, and it will station direct there on January 12th. Jupiter stations retrograde on July 28th, 2022 in your Aries 11th house, dealing with social groups, organizations, clubs, future goals. It will retrograde back into Pisces and it will station direct there on November 23rd, 2022 in that Pisces 10th house of your public image and your public career. Saturn stations retrograde on June 4th, 2022 in your Aquarius 9th house, dealing with higher education, philosophy, moral ethics, and foreign travel, and it will station direct there on October 22nd, 2022. The outer planet retrogrades, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Uranus stations retrograde August 24th, 2022 in your Taurus 12th house, dealing with mental health and isolation. It will station direct there January 22nd, 2023. Neptune stations retrograde June 28th, 2022 in your Pisces 10th house, dealing with public image and public career. And it will station direct there December 4th, 2022. Pluto stations retrograde April 29th, 2022 in your 8th house of shared resources, taxes, and investments, and it will station direct there October 8th of 2022. And to recap the eclipses, April 30th, 2022, there is a partial solar eclipse in your Taurus 12th house, dealing with mental health and isolation. This is outside circumstances, outside of your control, a catalyst event leading to a new beginning in that area of life. On May 15th, 2022, there is a total lunar eclipse in your Scorpio 6th house. This deals with your subordinates, coworkers, pets, being of service to others, and your physical health. Think catalyst event, setting off a course of change to an ending in this area of life. On October 25th, 2022, there is a partial solar eclipse in your Scorpio 6th house. Again, subordinates, physical health, pets, dealing with coworkers. And there is a catalyst event setting off a new beginning in that area of life. And on November 8th, 2022, there is a total lunar eclipse in your Taurus 12th house, a ending of some kind in your mental health or isolation that propels you moving forward over the course of the next 6 months. So that's it for your zodiacal year ahead, Aries to Pisces season 2022 to 2023. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, particularly comment. I love to read how these zodiacal transits play out for everybody. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.